Welcome back, everyone, to Data Science for Everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about the data collection technique of diaries. Let's get started. Asking participants in a research to keep logbooks or diaries of their behavior can add to data collection in two ways. These records can provide confirmation of observations made by the researcher, and they can fill in gaps when the researcher does not and is not present. Diaries can offer insight into behavior, feelings, and thoughts of research participants. However, it is not easy to encourage participants to maintain diaries. You are asking for quite a commitment in terms of time and effort. Participants need to be convinced there is a good reason for giving this much of their time to your research. Participant diaries are not the only form of diary in the research process. Researchers' diaries long have been used as a tool, although it is not strictly a data collection technique. As with any other data collection technique, you have to have be very clear about your purpose of the instrument and be sure to have chosen the instrument that best suits the purpose. Participant diaries are easily a way of obtaining information specific to the individual and a way of recording events when the researcher cannot be present. Diaries allow for autobiographical data to be recorded and shared with the researcher. The participants can decide on the depth and detail of this information, but you will need to provide them with some guidelines on how personal you want the information to be. Unless you are in a position to dedicate considerable time to the process, this is not a particularly straightforward technique for data collection. It is not recommended to use diaries in a small-scale study, and it is essential to build up a rapport with subjects of your investigation if you plan to ask them to keep diaries. Here are some guidelines for constructing participant diaries. Use an A4 booklet of about 5 to 20 pages, depending on the nature of the diary. Now, disappointing as it may seem, most respondents do not carry their diaries around with them. That's why in this new day and age, it may be better for you to allow them to do this via an app or use some form of application on their phone, etc. The inside cover page should contain a clear set of instructions on how to complete the diary. This should stress the importance of recording events as soon as possible after they occur and how the respondent should try not to let the diary keeping their influence their behavior. A model example of correctly completed diary should feature on the second page. Depending on how long a period the diary will cover, each page denoting either a week or a day of the week, or even a 24-hour period or less, pages should be clearly ruled up as a calendar with prominent headings and enough space to enter all the desired information, such as what the respondent was doing, at what time, where, who with, and how they felt at the time, etc. Checklists of items, events, or behavior to help jog the diary keeper's memory should also be printed somewhere fairly prominent. Very long lists should be avoided since it may be off-putting and confusing for respondents. There should be an explanation of what is meant by the unit of observation, such as a session or an event or a fixed time block, where the respondents are given more freedom in naming their activities and the activities are to be coded later. It is important to give strict guidelines on what type of behavior is included and what definitely is to be excluded, and the level of detail required. The appropriate terminology or lists of activities should be designed to meet the needs of the sample under study, and if necessary, different versions of the diary should be used for different groups. Following the diary pages, it's useful to include a simple set of questions for the respondent to complete, asking, among other things, whether the diary keeping period was atypical in any way compared to the usual daily life. It is also good practice to include a page at the end asking for respondents' own comments and clarifications of any peculiarities regarding their entries. Even if these remarks will not be systematically analyzed, they will prove helpful in editing and coding stage. Diaries create a lasting account of the process as well as the outcome. This is a valuable source of information that is unlikely to be available throughout any other medium. A log can be maintained in three parts: observational notes, theoretical notes, and methodological notes. Observational notes are statements bearing upon events experienced principally through watching and listening. They contain as little interpretation as possible and are as reliable as the observer can construct them. An observational note is the who, what, when, where, and how of human activity. Theoretical notes are self-conscious controlled attempts to derive meaning from any one or several observation notes. The observer, as a recorder, thinks about what he has experienced and makes whatever private declaration of the meaning he feels will bear conceptual fruit. These notes provide an arena for ideas to be tested and assessed. Methodological notes are statements that reflect on the operational act completed or planned, as instructed to oneself, a reminder or a critique of one's own tactics. It's notes timing, sequencing, stationing, stage setting, and maneuvering. Methodological notes might be thought of as observational notes on the researcher himself upon the methodological process itself. Methodological notes can also be referred to as the research log, but it is more than a daily timetable of the fieldwork, a place to organize the logistics of the study. It is a place of reflexive learning. Methodological notes form the basis for the final audit trail in qualitative research. Maintaining a research diary requires a huge amount of commitment in time, energy, and thought. It requires establishing a routine and sticking to that routine regardless of the other events impinging upon your time and energy. There is no prescribed formula for what goes into a diary, but areas that could be included are an ongoing bibliography of reading, initial research design, detail of all fieldwork, any changes in fieldwork, minutes of meetings, individual observation notes, reflections on emerging theory, and new research questions that arise but cannot be considered in this particular investigation. If you guys find these videos insightful, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.